When you sit back and you look at what's going on regarding Kamala Harris, you must understand one thing. You are being a part. You are part of an experiment that is so brilliant in its conception, it's very easy to miss. For the longest time, we have always seen, in terms of our literary themes and the like, the notion of the imposter, the great imposter, somebody who's doing something, somebody who's taking a position that they should not. Remember the great Frank Abagnale or Abagnale, Catch Me If You Can. There were, throughout history, there's always been somebody who said, how far can he go? This individual who becomes a physician who never went to medical school, who becomes a lawyer by somehow memorizing the bar exam, somebody who is a teacher, or somebody who took a position and never had the ability to do it, but was never questioned, because it was the system itself that allowed this person to elevate to that position in the first place. You are a part of an experiment, the likes of which we cannot even put into context. The shadow government, the people who run this kabuki theater called life, are laughing their arses off because of the fact that you have been a part of something that will forever affect the way government is. The idea of government is to completely disabuse you of any connection you have with controlling it. They want to control every aspect of your life. Everything from your money, to your thoughts, to your gender, to your family. There is no part of your life, there is no part of your family, your thinking, your belief, anything that they find outside the realm of this. So a couple of things have happened. First, we had someone by the name of Joe Biden. And Joe Biden was okay. I mean, he was not the greatest, but he was by no means an idiot. I'm sorry, I beg to differ. He was in no means an idiot. Never an idiot whatsoever. He was maybe a bit of a simpleton, but for 50 some years, he was around in Washington and did a good job, sort of. You might disagree with him. You might disagree with him, but that's okay. It's one of those things. It doesn't matter. You might disagree with him, but he was there. And that was kind of an idea to let you see. It's like, okay. Then we have people like AOC. Would you notice anything about AOC? No, because you thought she was cute, or she was whatever you thought, and you didn't mind her. Okay, so AOC was a part of it. And we just started seeing more and more and more of these people, Maxine Waters and others. And those were kind of mild. But they wanted to turn up the notch. And going back, I said, to the notion of literature, our literature has always mimicked and presaged what we see, obviously, in real life and politics and the like. And there was a movie called Being There, which I loved. Chauncey Gardner, or Chance the Gardener. And he, by the way, Chauncey Gardner is, I think, a professional football player, too. I always, whenever I Google, I get this poor man. And anyway, so Peter Sellers played this man who's a simpleton and oaf. And what he said was really nothing. His world was TV. And he was a gardener. And when he would say something, say something benign like, Ben, in the summer, we plan to, and they say, yes, I understand. And they would view and interpret what he was saying as something profound. It never left me. It was one of the most important messages in all my life. I've been fascinated as why people believe what they believe. And how do you know what you know? How do you know that? It's an epistemological question. They ask it a lot in medical school. How do you know what you know? How do you know this? What evidence? We oftentimes remember what we've heard people say, and it becomes lore. You know the word factoid? Factoid is used sometimes as a word, fact. And it's not a fact. Factoid is something that, by virtue of the fact of its repetition, it takes on the elements of fact, but it is indeed not a fact. It's anything but a fact. We never learn critical thinking. We never learn how to be at home with questioning orthodoxy. We don't like that. Oh, ye of little faith. We're taught from the time we are kids, there are certain things you do not question. And one of them is, I'm sorry, religion. Religion. Religion is what you were told from the beginning. Do not question this. If you dare, you are blasphemous, you are a heretic, you are a pagan, an atheist, or whatever. You must be God-fearing, and you are. And this is not a slam on religion. It's the way religion is taught. Because the way religion is taught is no different than the way politics is taught. This is the American way. This will just lull you. This replaced the magician's watch to hypnotize you. This is what people look to. Obeisance. Not an object, a symbol of our faith, which is really, as I always tell you, the Constitution. Well, no, this. And they tell you, you must think this. If you do not, you are a communist. Communism in the 50s does not even have any means of similarity today, and how this country turned on itself. And they merged communism with Russian espionage. They merged the two. People didn't say it's not that there weren't communists. McCarthy was right. It's not that communism was the problem. It's espionage. People who are stealing American secrets. I don't care if somebody's a communist. You can think whatever you want. I have no idea. In our country, we don't want you to think. So the greatest example, this was Operation Scamalot. Scamalot is going to be this iteration, this period of Kamala Harris. And a lot of people who were so brilliant sat back, maybe in a foreign country, maybe on some mountain, and they got together and they said, do you think we could do this? Could we really take the latest iteration and really move up the progression, because politicians are becoming more and more stupid? But could we really go full bore the Super Bowl of stupid? Could we take somebody who really doesn't understand anything? I mean, I was going to put I'm getting tired of putting these clips of Kamala saying this. And she talks about the cloud, like she'll describe things that you know about. There's one going around now of how she describes the cloud. And it's not on a computer like the computer that you have. It's in a place called the cloud. And it's almost as though two things, like she just figured it out, or that she can't believe it. And there are these little things called germs that we can't see that can sometimes go in, and by virtue of their process, cause what we refer to as an infection. And you think to yourself, this can't be. This is, come on. It's true. It's happening. It's incredible. Everything that we're saying, everything that we're doing, everything that I'm seeing right now is the most incredible experiment that I cannot believe is even remotely possible today. It is something I cannot believe is even possible. That they picked and selected this woman for anything, and that they're saying, oh, no. We could replace her. Oh, very easily. We could replace her and nobody would be the wiser. Nobody. We could pick a Stacey Abrams. We could pick, there's so many. Name it. Tell me what you want. Just tell me. And I'll find, okay, gay, black, Polynesian, atheist, left-handed. Got him. I got 50 right now. Got 50. There's nothing special about Kamala Harris. No. They wanted Scamalot. They wanted her. And the reason is that this is one of the most important experiments in our societal history, to see if we can truly have one of the most monumentally stupid, unimaginative, ignorant, put the two together. Ignorance is just another. I'm ignorant of the French language. I'm ignorant of French history, but I'm not stupid. I know that. I just don't know anything about it. That's ignorance. Now, when you are ignorant of something that everybody else knows, it might be because you're stupid. Nobody really wants to get around that. Nobody wants to get to that particular point because that's too cruel. Nobody really wants, man, this is a little tough. Nobody wants to go that far. They don't want to go too far because, you see, now we're talking about things like, oh. So right now we have this woman, and it is the greatest con ever. And the shadow government overlords are saying, let's call this Operation Scamalot. Let's see what we've got. This is going to be a beta test, a dry run. If we win, we win. If not, it doesn't really matter. Because at that level, no matter who's the president, they don't really care. They really, honest to God, they don't care. It's just personal. They want to control money systems and things like that. But wars but Venezuelan elections, American elections, it doesn't. In the scheme of things, doesn't make any difference. But they enjoy affecting the concept of this. And these very smart people are providing this, and they're going to turn this into, well, they're going to use a number of things that's available. Number one, they're going to use the media. This is a problem. Sometimes you seem to have a big audience, but it doesn't matter. To wit, the NASCAR audience is enormous. Anybody who doesn't understand NASCAR doesn't understand America. NASCAR is beyond anything you can even remotely imagine. NASCAR is it is so inane, no one can grasp it. Okay. If I were to say to you that at every NASCAR event, at every race from Talladega to Daytona to whatever it is, there's going to be nothing but wall-to-wall Trump signage, Trump coverage, Trump hats, Trump, all of the cars are going to have Trump MAGA on the side. There's going to be no other product endorsements at every single event, every race, from mini cars, the sprints and modifies and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Does that sound important to you? Yes, it does. Is it important? No. Why? I keep telling you, they're going to vote for Trump anyway. Doesn't matter. Yeah, but you don't understand. There's a million people. Doesn't matter. They're going to vote for him anyway. Now, if you're trying to do a product placement, if you're trying to have, if you have a cereal, and all of a sudden, Cheerios is, that may mean something. But for purposes of an election, doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. Well, why do people care so much about social media? A couple of reasons. It's a vestige. The people in cable TV, for example. The people in cable TV are trying their best to make sure that they still have a job. They still do not know. I know one guy, for example, who's he'd like to think it a big deal, but it's really not. It's kind of like a cable news platform that is so irrelevant. It should be a museum piece. And he doesn't realize it. And the reason is he goes to work in the morning and he's surrounded by people who, this guy worked for CNN. This guy might have been for MSDNC. This might have been, and they put together these tried and true and trite operational They have lost their ways. They've lost their sound. Okay. Fox News is basically what it was Roger Ailes years ago. Fox News has been doing this for generations. It seems like they just don't. There's no change. Okay, I don't want to spend my time with that. The point is, Kamala Harris is a blithering idiot, and nobody can stop her. Nobody. And the shadow government says we might be able to have something. We might be able to. We might be able to do this. Let's see if we can put these people on. Let's think about this. Let's see if we can put these people on. Let's see if we can put on a Cretin, and let's see what happens. CNN, you are told, because we own you, you're going to prop up Kamala Harris. You got that? Got it. Fox News, you're going to do your thing, whatever it is. Let's see what happens. And because each one will kind of sort of maybe cancel each other out. Each of them, remember, playing to their own groups. Kamala Harris is just unscathed, just moving straight forward, and she's a blithering idiot. This is an experiment, I said, that goes back. It's been a part of who we are forever. We have always toyed with the idea, this movie's like Dave and others, somebody who wins something who doesn't deserve it. Brad, wrong, everybody. Sound. Brad doesn't believe in saying a lot of things. Brad speaks with a simplicity, clarity, perhaps maybe a monosyllabic pellucidity that's hard to explain. But he's a good man. And this is, Brad, this is the sound of America standing up once and for all. It is the sound. It is the sound. It is the sound of the dumbest person by any measurement, actually moving through, and the elites or whatever being told, you are going to love her. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see what's happening? And what most of people are doing is they're just paralyzed. There are some, and I think we're probably, who are just sitting back saying, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. This cannot be happening. And they're saying, what? Kamala Harris, what about her? Do you not see this? Do you not recognize this? Recognize what? Do you not understand how monumentally stupid she is? No. Why are you doing this? Well, because maybe, no, why don't you notice this? Well, it's hard to say. What do you mean it's hard to say? There was a picture yesterday. There was a picture. And you might be able to see it. You might be able to see it. It's online. It's the Egyptian volleyball. Did you see this? The Egyptian volleyball team. Did you see this? And they're wearing Americans call everything a burqa. It's not a burqa. But these women were wearing dark, kind of black, like covered head to toe, the face covered, and they're on a beach playing volleyball. And I think it was Egypt. And yeah, this other team, Lithuania, I don't know. And they're basically, these are women who are part of the sport. The only reason anybody walks is they basically have the cheeks of their ass hanging out. That's why people watch this. In the world of sports, women's track and field, women's high jumps, whatever, is always that. That's why people watch it. And you can go on YouTube and you can see shorts of women pole vaulters. And you know, when you run, when you jump, your legs spread and this and that. That's it. Okay, whatever. But just so that you know, that's why people care about Ukrainian high jump. So there was a picture of these women, and they're laughing at this. And they're laughing at this. And they're saying, well, what's so funny about that? And I asked a friend of mine, I said, why do you think this is funny? Well, because obviously these women, these Muslims, are out there on a beach wearing covered head to toe. I said, what's wrong with that? Remember years ago when you would go fishing? Maybe you don't remember this. When you would go fishing, you would go out and you would just come back so burnt. I mean, fishermen, like, oh my God, in Florida, at the, John's Pass and all these fishermen type. I mean, oh my God, in the Gulf, they're just, oh. And they never even got skin cancer because their skin was like leather and nothing could grow. Even a cancer couldn't grow. It was just completely. I always, my friend Gordon Zoli used to smoke about 9 packs a day, cigarettes a day. The cheapest stuff, he had these Guayavera, and he would put like cigarette packs in there, like he would put like a bandolero, like magazines going out to battle. And I said, you never get lung cancer, right? He never did. I said, he had other form of cancer. It's very sad, but I said, but lungs are fine. I said, and the reason why is because you will, you can't grow a weed in fire. You're constantly bathed in smoke. Nothing will take. But we kind of laughed at that. Well, fishermen today cover themselves. Fishermen today, you go out in some party boat, which to me is the worst hell there is, to go grouper fishing. Anyway, they're covered. So back to what I said. Why are these Egyptian women wearing their covering on the beach volleyball? Why is this so stupid? Because of their faith. Well, this faith wears you wear a kippah, you wear a yarmulke. Yeah, well, that's different. Why is that different? I don't wear a hat. I think wearing a hat's stupid. Let's just assume. Why is this one stupid? Yeah, but they're stupid. Well, because it's not yours, right? Yeah. What do? You hang stuff. You hang medals, crosses. That's your joke. What if I hang an electric chair here? You gonna do that? I'm not making fun of it, but the point is, everybody always looks stupid if you're not in that group. And we always love to feel that we are superior. Republicans love to feel that they are morally and patriotically superior to the left. The left believes they are intellectually and culturally, and in terms of a sophisticated sense, they are more sophisticated than the right wing. Meanwhile, as all of these scrums are going on, here's Kamala Harris, right to the top. Right to the top. And nobody's stopping her. And going back to the shadow government, they're saying they still haven't stopped her. Run some more of those ads on TikTok is going crazy. Some of the best stuff. Do it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They have no sense of anything. If you want to see something, well, I don't want. I was going to say about Bill Maher, but it doesn't really matter. This Haktua girl. This is getting creepy. The way they're treating her, it's really getting creepy. It's really getting creepy. I'm just telling you. We are getting creepy and we're getting stupid. And what we are seeing, going back to what I said, is we are seeing the transformation and the transmutation of a group of people, this country, who are accepting dumber and dumber and dumber. And eventually you're going to have an AI candidate or AGI. You're going to have no candidate. We have no president. We have this intellectual moron. I guess redundant. We have more people involved in this. And the thing about it is that nothing is being done. And you can watch all of these stupid shows on Sunday. And nobody will say, this is stupid. I could go right now to anybody at CNN. I could go to anybody at MSDNC or Fox, doesn't matter. And I would say, let me ask you something. Whoever, I don't know who runs it, Zaslav or whoever runs it. And I would say, let me ask you a very simple question. And you don't have to answer in public. You just put a secret ballot. Would any of you, if you didn't know who Kamala Harris was, and she shows up and she's got her face and her looks, and you might say, oh, that's good. That's good. Xander says it's really, really creepy. Morning, Uncle L and Mrs. L. Thank you, Xander. But would you hire Kamala Harris to be your whatever it was? Would you? Remember? Remember Brett Kavanaugh? Kamala people think she can. Cam people think she can do true. Brett Kavanaugh, Kamala people think she can do true. I don't know what that means, but I do remember him, and what they did to him was awful. They accused him of horrible stuff. But here's my question. Would you hire her? No. Let me ask you again. Assuming you didn't know who Kamala Harris was, but if I just said, look, here she is. This is her on camera. This is her talking about clowns, about yellow buses, about coconut tree, about community banks. Would you have her on your TV? They say, no. No. Why? She's an idiot. We can't do this. Yeah, but wouldn't you? Yeah, but doesn't she look nice? I don't give a damn how she looks. She's an idiot. We don't have idiots. Say what you want. You can say about anybody you want. Caitlin, you got to watch Caitlin Collins. Caitlin Collins is my favorite, and I only see her in passing on X or Twitter. She has those eyebrows like this and that face where that look of, and she looks at you like she hates you. Whatever it is, she's smart. There's nobody who's dumb. Except for Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin, she was there. Sarah Palin was as dumb as rocks, and Republicans did the same thing because they said, oh, isn't she great? TDS people think Kamala's a great lawyer. Not really, Brad. I mean, they might say so, but they haven't given it much thought. They kind of think so, but not really. They haven't given it much thought. They don't think what she's done to a lot of TDS people don't like what she did to going after black women for charging them with truancy or making them pay criminally for their kids being truant. They don't think that's funny at all. At all. They really, really, really don't like that. But we don't even, doesn't even matter. Raul says, I would not hire her. Well, that does it. If Raul doesn't hire her, but I'm asking a very simple question. She would not be hired because she's an idiot. And I'm sorry to say this, and I don't know how to say it other than the way I'm saying it. She is an idiot, and people know she's an idiot, and you can't do anything with an idiot. When somebody is this stupid, look at what she said. And we're not talking about somebody who has his moments. I mean, they talk about Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle was really far down. He didn't understand the rudiments of stuff. Let me ask you a question. So anyway, bottom line is simply this. Can she win? Sure she can win. And I say that in a way. Will she win? I'm not going to vote or bet on it. I'm looking, as I said right now, I'm looking at these. And we start with this. I like to see polls just to kind of see what's going on. Just to kind of see. In the 2024 election, Trump versus whatever. So far, we've got Trump up by a point. In the 2024 generic congressional vote, Republicans up by 0.2. Presidential Biden job approval, minus 15.6. Vice President Harris favorability, minus 6.9. Direction of the country, wrong track, 40. In key battleground states, 2024. This is it's a rolling. Don't take these to heart, but just kind of get an idea of kind of where we're going. 2024 Pennsylvania, Trump versus Harris, Trump up by almost 3 points. Georgia, Trump versus Harris, Trump up by 2. In the Arizona state, well, this is Kerry Lake, Gallego. If Kerry Lake loses again, oh my God, please don't make me go through having to hear her again. Please. Please. In Michigan, Slotkin is up by 6, the Democrat. In Nevada, Rosen, there's others, but just spend a little time. I'm going to give you this one link. Just spend a little time. It's not perfect. It's not by any stretch of the imagination perfect, but it gives you a little bit of a kind of a focus, because you must understand something. You can't listen to a word these people are saying. You can't. You cannot do it. And you must understand the way of the elections. The elections they're not in any way reflective of real life. Let me give you an example of something. Another one. Years ago, there was this group of people, in 2016, who loved Bernie Sanders. Now, it doesn't matter whether you like Bernie, you probably don't. Doesn't matter. But these young people loved Bernie Sanders. And for the first time in a long time, they said, like, this is a guy that we can handle. They absolutely KO'd this guy. He didn't have a chance. Bernie Sanders was just, they clobbered him and they moved him out of the way for Hillary. And that's when they said, so that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Wow. That's the way it is. Yep. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Now, remember, when I tell you this, and I can give you the most profoundly beautiful, fact-based, whatever you want to call it, believe me when I tell you this. Believe me. Believe me when I tell you this, and listen to me carefully. Nothing's going to happen. Americans do not do anything. In Venezuela, like it or not, they go berserk. We don't go berserk. The only time anybody went berserk is Black Lives Matter, when this orchestrated Antifa, kind of a domestic terrorist, shock troops were organized. And you could say, stealing. Stealing. There are people who love to go out there and they will just tear this. If you said, listen, next Tuesday, anybody can riot if you want to. You know how many people would riot? More than you would ever imagine. And you say, what are you rioting for? Well, I don't know. We just riot. There are some people who just will riot. They just do. There are some people who immediately will try to converge citizen unrest with stealing. In many, many jurisdictions, liquor stores are the first places to close. Liquor stores. Why? During riots. Why? What do you mean? Well, because what does liquor have to do with it? Well, it's having to do with it, but I think we know what's going on there. No, what's going on there? Well, it's a group of people who really don't necessarily believe in anything, but they're just sort of, So let me just explain something to you. There's this, people will riot, but nobody riots here because they feel some. Black people have been supposedly, and when I say supposedly, I think it's true, but they are saying that they have been absolutely crushed by this racist system for generations. Brad Rung says, Steve McMichael now in the Hall of Fame, I guess. Were you a fan? I don't know who that is. Steve McMichael. I don't know who that is, sir. I don't know who that is. I'll check. Maybe that's his real name. In any event, I don't know what that means. But thank you. Let me go back to what I'm saying. How many times have Black people marched in this country, or, and I'm saying, not rioted, but taken to the streets over any of the injustices and indignities that they have suffered? Take your time. Anybody? 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 Let me ask you this question again. Let me bring it to your attention. How many people, how many times have you seen Black people taking to the streets, marching, not rioting, but really getting pissed off, kind of like we're seeing in Venezuela, pissed off because of housing or healthcare or criminal fight or of this or that, or how many times? How many? Never. Never. Million Man March was a joke. Americans don't do that. We don't do it. You would think, well, that would be the most important group of people who certainly would have the most reasons to protest, don't you think? Xander says, I feel like I'm reliving in a constant loop, the same playbook every voting season. In a sense, there are certain, not like this though. This one's completely different because of the candidate. But let me ask this question, and thank you, Xander. How many black folks, how many, you don't march, don't vote, don't march? Oh, Four Horsemen with Ric Flair and WCW back in the day. Well, the Four Horsemen were really Tully Blanchard, Tully, Ole Anderson. I don't think he was the original one. Maybe he was. Oh, was it Arn Anderson? I guess he was. I don't remember him as being one of the originals. Tully Blanchard, Michael Hayes. Remember the Freebirds? And I don't know, but it's good. I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad he's not brain damaged. So let me go back and thank you, Brad, for that. But let me ask this. Just stick with me on this. Black folks don't vote. I don't march. Gay people don't. Well, they have the gay pride parade. That's about it. Who marches? Nobody. We don't do a damn thing in this country. We're kind of happy. We're like, we're theoretically happy. Yeah, but don't you understand what they did to black people? Yeah, but, I don't want to do that. Well, why don't you go out and no, we're not interested. We're not going to march. Ryan says, if one examines the Fukushima, oh my God, Fukushima, remember that? Nuclear disaster years ago compared with Katrina, looting and rioting seem rooted in culture. The Japanese don't riot even if they could get away with it. Oh, it's true. But we have, as you know, there is a group of people in this country that is part of a thug mentality. There are subcomponents. There's a thug mentality. We have right now in New York City, they have these, quote, gangs in the Bronx. These gangs, they go on shooting. This is like, there's not even, there's just this mutant form of criminal. There's no organization. They're out there and just finally they're cracking down. Those are just mutants. So by the same token, Americans don't care. I'm going to say something about Black America. Just in general, the most insignificant group of political people there is. They don't vote. Sorry. And you are going to lose out this time, and you have, to the illegals who do vote. And they're family oriented, and they're workers, and they're youth. They come from impoverished backgrounds where they're just so grateful. I've got a friend of mine who owns a little tobacco shop kind of a place, and he happens to be from Yemen. And when all of these folks came to this, to New York, the illegals, he was just, bombarded with, you got any work? You got any work? Can we deliver for you? He goes, no, I don't. He said, aren't you whatever? Yes. Don't you have the cards? Yes. Don't you have the money? Yes. They work. I'm going to work. You should see the number of these people, illegals for the most part, in New York City on these motorbikes carrying these big, these insulated kind of backpack things. Now, with all due respect, those folks, all of them, those aren't black people, Black Americans. Though you do see that in the Amazon and the Whole Food deliveries, that you see all over the place. And by the way, driving in New York, in Manhattan, forget it. You stop wherever you want. You can get out. You're always delivering. So what I'm trying to say is, black leadership. Al Sharpton paid off, happy, he's shelved. Jesse Jackson, I think Jesse's, I don't know, he's not even there anymore. So this group of people, forget it. So let me just say something to you. If they're not protesting every single day, who else is going to be? Nobody is. Do gay people do that? No. Do trans people? I never knew trans people had it so bad. Do they? No. Nobody does anything. We just sit back and we tweet. Americans are lazy. They don't do anything. Kamala Harris, whatever. Oh, we love the bitch. Hey, did you see this? Oh, I'll send you this great TikTok video. You going to vote? No. But I'm going to send you this great TikTok video. It's all of her words kind of slammed together. Are you voting? I told you, no, I'm not voting. You're not voting? No, not really. No. Don't you think you should vote? Why? Do you think Black America is connected with her? No. But it doesn't matter because the people who are running the show, the shadow government, love this. They've not seen anything like this. So let me just explain something. You can get all pissed off all you want about Kamala Harris. She's the most stupid. But try to explain this to the rest of the people, especially Black people who don't give a damn. And she all of a sudden, she's the sister. Hey, okay. Do you hear what she's saying? I don't care. Really? Yes. This is and by the way, and when we talk about Black America, it's, 14% of the population, 12%, 13%, whatever you want to call it. You can't talk about where there are folks who are living, have nothing to do with the Bronx or South Central or Compton, whatever people think of when they think of Black America. They always think of, hoodlums. No, there's people who are doing intact families, educated. Stop this. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about, just in general, the loudmouths. Okay? The ones who are screaming and yelling and who supposedly are leftists. Did you see the woman from ABC? They say she's getting death threats. This was the ABC woman who did this hatchet job. Now, by the way, death threats are the most horrible thing in the world. You shouldn't do this. And you should leave this woman alone. But by the way, madam, do me a favor. Do not call the Secret Service because of what you said. Do not call them to help you because you're of no luck. So let me just go back and say right now, I don't want you to get depressed. I don't want you to think, oh God, but understand what we've got here. And let me start off where I started off. We have the stupidest person in the world, and nobody seems to notice it. One of the reasons why is because so many people that we know are stupid. Stupid people, dumb people, idiotic people, people who can't speak English. There is a form of English today. I don't even recognize it as being even remotely reminiscent to English. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're saying. I have no idea what they're saying. None. They're stupid people. We're outsourcing schools. We have idiot kids. Listen to this. Listen to me when I tell you this. I talked to a person who is not really a teacher, but deals with people in the sometimes high school, sometimes 15, 13, very rarely kids. But it's kind of like it's not a drug system, but anyway, make a long story short, 13 through maybe 18. I'm going to tell you something that blew me away. There's a study right now that says that kids should be able to, or that many schools are trying to introduce cursive. Now, cursive is not a good idea because, well, that's the way we did it, by God. That doesn't matter the way we did something. If it worked, great. But when you do cursive, there's something that happens. The more you play instruments, the more you disconnect left and right, the more spatial you are, the more imaginative. It's wonderful to sit there and to start, and it benefits you tremendously, no doubt about that. It's not just some vestige of a time gone by. In fact, nobody printed until fairly recent. During the 19th century, everybody wrote, and their signature was the most important thing in the world. Their signature was their iPhone. Do you ever see kids say, "Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Who's got my phone? Who's got my phone?" I like when they say, "Find my phone." Nobody ever forgets their phone. Nobody ever says, "Where's my phone?" Because it's always a part of you. But anyway, so they're reintroducing cursive. New York's not going to do this. Okay. So I was talking to this friend of mine who was in this program. And another person said that kids, because they don't write, I do this, or this, or this, and maybe this. I'm a dictator. I'm a dictator. I'm Stalin. I'm a Genghis Khan. I'm a dictator. I dictate myself. I love it. I think differently. There's only one thing to Elon Musk. If you could figure us out, explain something. If I dictate something that has a word like something that has an apostrophe s, why is the apostrophe always inverted when I dictate? Just want to let you know, it's no big deal. Why is it inverted? I like the way sometimes dictation will hear what I'm saying and misunderstand it and give me something else. It's kind of like the way maybe ADD or dyslexia kind of works. It hears something, but it gives me something else. Okay. So my friend said, it's another one, fourth grade teacher said that because kids don't know how to write, they can't write. They've never written, they've never held a pen. They've never drawn. They've never colored. They've never put puzzles together. Their hands don't do anything but this and eat. And maybe, and they're very good with, with this, but very, very limited, very operational. It's different than when you're doing something where you are using a stylus to write something, but this is operational. Do you ever see these Chinese or Japanese? Which one? I don't know. But they're doing abacus, and they've done it for so long, they don't even need the abacus. They just do it like this because they can see it in their head, and they're sitting there like this, and they're calculating because they've seen it. This doesn't mean anything to them. What they're doing is important, but okay. So they can't write. Next thing, kids today cannot read. And the reason why they can't read is because you have to track. When you read, many people read less and less, but there's a skill as to when you read. And reading is a very difficult thing to do. Reading, by the way, is the most incredibly difficult thing. There are many of you, by virtue of statistics, who are either dyslexic or have a terrible time reading. Or it's not ADD or ADHD. It's different. Dyslexia always has been common. And the reason why is because reading is one of the most unnatural things in the world that people do. For you to take a word, listen to it, focus it, revert it, think, oh yes, read. And then to get homonyms right, read, you mean R-E-A-D or R-E-D. Very difficult. Reading is tough. But one of the reasons one thing you have to do is track. You have to track words. And it's this I. And you know that eyes do not, when you pan here, if you take a video and you go like that, it's just it's this big blur. But if you go like this, you notice how there's no blur because it's called saccadic vision or saccade. It's a little jerky movement. So your eyes do this very brilliantly. So when kids learn to read, they don't know how to track because everything comes at them. So they can't read. They look at a word and say, what do I do? Go to the next word. Go to the next word. Okay, I can read. Now put the two together. Keep going. Keep following it. This incremental tracking, they don't know how to do. Okay. Going back to my other friend as we're talking, she's in the drug rehab world. She says, you think that's good? Let me tell you this one. I'll tell you one for you. If you think that's good. The number of kids who can't tell time. They have it on their phone, but they can't read an analog clock. I said, what? They can't read an analog clock. I don't know why that blows me up, blows my mind. Kids are 18 years old. Can't. And you wonder why nobody's upset over the fact that Kamala Harris is running? Do you understand this? Look at this. I love this. Laurie, you made my day. Laurie says, our 19-month-old grand can count to 20 in English and Spanish, knows his alphabet, and does puzzles. Oh, dear God. Oh, my God. Get a museum. Call the museum. Call the museum. It's the most incredible thing in the world. The idea of this is wonderful. What does this mean? This is too schizophrenic to even follow. What is schizophrenic? I'm just curious. Alfred, what is schizophrenic? The subject matter, the times, my particular presentation, this. What is schizophrenic? I'm just curious. What is schizophrenic? Ball of confusion. That's what the world is today. Hey, hey. Fear in the air, tension everywhere, unemployment's rising fast, the Beatles' new records of gas, and the only safe place to be is on an Indian reservation. And the band played on. Fear and destruction, tax deduction, city inspectors, bill collectors, mind closed in demand, population out of hand, suicide, too many bills, hippies moving to the hills, people all over the world are shouting, end the war. And the band played on. Temptations. Dennis Edwards. Went to see them as a kid. My cousin and I. Look at this. I love your show, but sometimes you're all over the place. That's what I meant by schizophrenic. Not to distract you. You're also brilliant. Would you like Alfred to explain you're all over the place? Do you think, as Alfred says, I'm all over the place, or are there all kinds of subjects? Do you think are you having a hard time following this? With all of the things that are coming at us? Do you think this is all of it? Because I think, with all due respect, this is the problem that people are having, because I just believe that that life is just this blur. It's drinking from a fire hose. It's like going to a museum and catching everything. It's like, oh my God. Do you ever stand up and say, I'm just curious, do you ever stand up and say, excuse me, yes, this movie, now we're going back. Excuse me, this Godfather, can you stop the projector? Yeah, listen, Godfather 2, okay, we're going back to Vito goes back to avenge. Wait a minute, he's going back in time? Shouldn't that be in one? Wait a minute, you're all over the place. And now Michael's old, he's back. Wait a minute. A Rashomon? I don't even know how to tell you that. I don't even know how to explain that to you. I think you're just kind of all over the place. Think about what that means. Think about this. Somebody actually said, the only thing I want to say to you, and I appreciate your comment, is I can't follow this. This is too schizophrenic. Schizophrenic. I'm sitting here in a world, I've got women, men, people, my 5-year-old son, and this and that, the Temptations. This guy just got inducted into he was a 4 Horsemen, professional wrestling. I have ADD, going back in time, many, many plates. What do we do? What about Kamala? What about Willie Brown? Do you think? And it's this idea that, what? All over the place. The world is all over the place. This might be the problem. This might be the problem. Somebody actually said, I haven't said anything, but I'm just going to say, excuse me, can you slow this down a little bit? Wow. Edie Crowley says, I introduced my 7-year-old granddaughter to languages by taking one word and translating in 4 languages. Now she has taken it upon herself to study Mandarin. She writes the calligraphy perfectly. Oh my God. Oh my, see, that is just incredible. And kids would love this. Oh, Don says, and don't forget testicles the other day. Thank you very much. That's right. This is so interesting. I am so fascinated by people say, this is just too much. Hunter Thompson, I'm not going to compare myself to Tom. I can't believe this. I went to see this old George Carlin thing or this movie, and he goes from this side, and then he's talking about how he grew up in New York, and then all of a sudden, for nothing, he talks about drugs. Imagine what the world looks like whether you have all of that transitional, interstitial, connective tissue. What would that be like? Well, we're not over the place. Well, that kind of reminds me, the other day we were talking about testosterone and how we don't necessarily understand the role of the testicles. And that also reminds me that maybe we all should wonder, why are testicles the signs of bravado and bravery? You've got balls. Maybe, and I'm changing the subject right now, that it would sound like that. Well, I don't want to scare you right now, but that reminds me. Oh, no, don't, keep going. And I kind of ran out of what I was going to say. Well, keep going. I'm sitting back here and I'm not going to involve myself in anything, but I will if you go too fast or if the direction you pick is not my liking. I'm going to let you know. And I'm going to let you know because I am self-appointed. I'm here at your time. I'm not investing anything in this. You're doing this. I'm a guest in your home. And I'm going to say, excuse me, pardon me. Thank you all to the McWhorter family for allowing me to come into your home for your Thanksgiving meal. But I've got to say something. Even though I am a guest, I don't know what you all are talking about. And you don't make any sense. And you're making references to people. I don't know who they are. But you're a guest. It doesn't matter who I'm a guest. It's my sense of superiority. I think that my objection rises to the top and will stop you dead in your tracks because I am uncomfortable with a particular style of information and the way it's done. It's incredible. It's absolute. But I thank you for that because it really shows me. I learn from this. Like, yes, I'm going to think about this. I'm going to think about how somebody says, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand. So now, today, there are people who are going to be watching. I don't understand why. But there are people who are going to be watching news today for reasons I do not understand. And what I want you to also fully understand, and what I want you just to let me know, is something very, very simple. I want you to understand, I want you to explain to me the idea, this is very important, explain to me the idea of who is running the show, what is President Trump doing, what will happen next, are the battleground states correctly handled, are the battleground states being looked at? I'm changing the subject. I'll let you know. This is what concerns me. I don't care about anything else. I do, but in terms of the politics, I don't care what Kamala says. Who is watching the show? Because they can steal it legally. And as I say, I also say something which is very, 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 very important. And I want you to listen. Oh, by the way, Alfred says, I see your point. I certainly did not intend to be rude, as you are not, sir. I've turned into the show many times. I always enjoyed it. Indeed, I appreciate that, and I thank you for that. But let me also thank you for inspiring me. I'm changing the subject. Because that reminds me, sometimes when people will say something, it inspires me in a way that I never thought possible. Now, back to Kamala. Everything else is a waste of time. Lara Trump, do me a favor. Lay off the eyeliner and do your best and tell us this is what the RNC is doing to make sure that the election is not stolen. Do I make myself clear? I don't care about anything else. I don't care about Trump's rallies. I don't care. Now, I do find it interesting. There's there are groups of people, a lot of black folks they're showing wearing Trump hats in Georgia. I think that's interesting. How significant? I don't know. The problem that black voters have, that I worry with the black vote, is getting out to vote. Sorry. I live in New York City. We have 8 million? I don't know, 5 boroughs? Who knows? Whenever we have an election, nobody shows up. It's not just black people. Nobody. This is going to be a little different. But remember what I'm saying to you. What is the most critical? What is the most important? And I know people think I'm just being rude or elitist, and I am not. This I assure you. Kamala Harris is a blithering idiot. And the idea that a blithering idiot, is the choice, the selection of her party is something of significance that we cannot put into words or in detail how incredible it is. She is a blithering idiot, and nobody seems to notice or care. And that, dear friend, is something which I find fascinating. I want you also to understand something, and I want you to listen. In the event that you understand something as far as my position, I am not now, nor have I ever been, a Republican. I was always, when I was in college, I guess, registered Democrat. But for 30 plus years, independent, because I don't know what happened. Democrats made sense. John Kennedy, this and that, the war, the Vietnam. Those are my people. Republicans did nothing for me. Growing up in Florida, Republicans really weren't that big of a deal. It was kind of like a... But what people don't understand is that the Democrats became or were very, very kind of sort of conservative in the old days. And this is something which you have to understand and grasp. They really were. And the Dixiecrats, the racists that people talk about, were Democrats, not Republicans. 1972, that changed everything. Okay. Today, I will tell you right now, if Donald Trump were not running, I don't know whom I would vote for. I have no... Then I might go for Ramaswamy or anybody. I would never vote, probably never vote Democrat again. I don't know anybody but Trump. I don't even know. DeSantis, I don't know. I don't even think about that. And the reason why Trump is important is a number of things. Number one, first, look at this. Dan says, you are elites, but not an elitist. Okay, whatever it is. Believe me when I tell you this. I am not in any way hubristic. And let's just leave it at that. Now, Donald Trump is the only solution to this country. Okay? Now, let me make it even easier for you. Now that Kamala Harris is the alternative, whatever little room there was for variability, it's gone. John Scott says, I want Kamala to win so Republicans can get back to true selves, not MAGA. Okay. I don't know. That's a little scary to me, but I kind of understand what you're saying, but the answer is no. You sound like the parent who says, well, the only way that little Timmy here is going to learn is if he hits rock bottom. Then he'll maybe consider those AA classes, and then maybe he might consider rehab. But the only way is if Timmy hits rock bottom. You don't want Timmy to hit rock bottom because people die during rock bottom. And if Kamala Harris wins, that means that you are going to see, you're going to have electric cars mandated. You're going to have no gas stoves, no fans, no pizza, because you're going to see stuff. These crazy, lunatic, monstrously insane programs that never got the chance of just the light of day. All of these lunatics, all of these demented people, all of these folks, all of them are going to be elevated to a new level, and you're going to have this blithering idiot. So no, with all due respect, sir, I do not want Kamala to teach anybody anything. Okay? But as I was saying, With Joe Biden, even before he was sick, I'm thinking, well, maybe. It's Xander, everybody. Thank you, Xander. With Joe Biden, there was at least Kamala Harris is a moron. It's like giving your child a loaded gun and hoping that somehow your child, your baby, doesn't pull the trigger. You're giving the United States, a woman, the nuclear code to a woman who has basically pledged fealty to somebody from somewhere. I don't know who these people are. This is not. She is indeed a globalist puppet. She is a windsock. You know those things? I don't know when they came about, but it's always like a tire station, like with specials or retread and balance your tires or whatever, change your oil. And they have that skinny thing, like a scarecrow thing, and it's like that's Kamala. Fill her up with air. She's a sock. She's a windsock. She's a sock puppet. She's just, I don't know who's running her. I don't know. And somebody said, excuse me, yeah, did you hear this, Kamala? She explained the cloud. Yeah. Would you call Kamala in here and say, Kamala, we're taking out the ticket. Why? Because we didn't know this, but you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't go and you. Kamala Harris on contraception. You know, there are these things called, well, they used to be called rubbers. And they're not really made of rubbers. They're synthetic. And the old days, they called them skins. They actually use lambskin. And the idea is that if you provide a barrier, spermatozoa will not be allowed to leave. She wouldn't say it like that. I said, Kamala, we understand this. And you see contraceptions against, we know this. It's as though, yeah, but I just noticed this. I understood this. I want to slip Kamala Harris into these weird, with an Ed Witten, kind of a weird particle physics, some kind of a cosmology, Terence Tao group, slip her in as the speaker and have them. She notices things that are just little. Like I'm going to give Kamala Harris, say, Kamala, yes. Do you have a question? I've got a question. Kamala, yes. Is the alphabet in that order because of the song? Asking for a friend. That's my favorite. That is a joke. That is a joke, which I thought was so funny to me. Ken Diazio, by the way. Thank you so much, Ken. That was a joke that I thought was so, I just thought it was so funny. And people have said, no, I think the, no, I think the song, that's an interesting question. Like, why is it? I'm thinking, are you answering this? Can't you understand that was the joke? I've been telling a joke for the longest period of time of my life. And I think it's so funny because it's so obvious and you don't answer it. And it's not even a joke, but the question is, what's another word for a thesaurus? Stop. When people say dictionary, it's like, I don't want to know you. Nobody gets the joke. You know who got the joke? Robert Trump. He got it. And I said, you're not going to believe this. I do not. You're not going to. I can't. You're the only person who has ever. It's this. My mother said one time this thing. Her favorite joke. She said things like. She said, if you can't read, you can't buy soup. And before we had pictures, when you went to the soup line, you saw the Campbell soup. It just like was one big. It was like an Andy Warhol exhibit. It was one of the funniest. I thought it was great because it was brilliant. It was the observation that was made, and it was perfect. But somebody asked one time, why did they sterilize a needle before a lethal injection? How do you ship styrofoam? There's all these kind of imponderables. You get it immediately. She would not get it. She wouldn't get it. Mad P says, I've always thought Donald Trump was one of the world's biggest jerks, but I appreciate his jerkhood because I noticed that most jerks are effective and get the job done. Jerkman 2024. You know what's funny? I don't want to go into whether I like him. And thank you, but I'm serious. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything about Donald Trump where I would say, I want to sit down and know him. I want to get to know him. I don't know. We probably have nothing in common. I don't know. Not at all. Not really. Howie Brown says, Kamala's campaign phrase for today, Kamala is a happy warrior. Oh, see, you got to understand something. You always have to yell racist whenever you can for anything else. You always have to say, let me tell you something. Do you know, I'm going to give you the name. There was a man, his name was James Arthur Harris. You know who James Arthur Harris is? He was a wrestler known in the ring for using the name Kamala, Kamala. He was nicknamed the Ugandan Giant, and he portrayed a fearsome and simple-minded Ugandan. He wrestled barefoot, clad only in a loincloth, his face painted with war paint, 2 stars, painted on his chest, a moon on his stomach, and he sported an African mask. He wielded a spear and a shield. Kamala. Black man, Kamala. Big guy. He died in 2020. And sadly, cardiac arrest, comorbid diabetes, and COVID-19. Always throw in COVID-19. Anyway, so when you show this, he was also goes as Bad News Harris, Giant Kamala, Gigante Kamala, all these names. Okay, when you bring this up and you show people a picture, by the way, he predates her. When you show the picture of Kamala, the wrestler, the black guy with the thing and the spear, they say you're being racist. I said, that's his picture. I didn't do that. He did this. Yes, we're being racist. That's not racist. He has the same name as Kamala Harris. He went by, that's a real name. And by the way, here's the best part about this. His last name was Harris. Okay, I'm just saying. But they will say that's racist. It's not racist. You don't even know what racist means. People don't even understand what the hell this thing means. But Kamala Harris came along and she said these things, which I'm going to read to you. One of them in particular. These are quotes. We must work together to see where we are headed, where we are going, and our vision for where we should be. But also see it is a moment to, yes, together address the challenges and to work on the opportunities that are presented by this moment. What else do you know about this population, 18 to 24? They're stupid. That's the one that I would play every single day. She doesn't know what she's saying. Do you remember Professor Irwin Corey? Do you remember Irwin Corey? Irwin Corey I met him. He was like 100 and whatever. I met him towards the end. He was blind, but Professor, the expert on everything, he would start off every one of his routines with, however, one of the funniest things around. It's this beautiful, beautiful, wonderful thing. And what's interesting is that she speaks almost like a logorrhea. This is a communication disorder. It's called wordiness, repetitiveness, mental illness, word salad, Wernicke's aphasia. It's give you an example. This was an example of something. When a clinician said, "Tell me what you do with a comb." Okay, this is an example. This is an example given, true, documented, supposedly. What do you do with a comb? This is what you ask somebody who had Wernicke's aphasia, which produces the symptom of logorrhea. The patient said as follows. Listen to me carefully. I'm not making this up. Quote, what do I do with a comb? What I do with a comb? Well, a comb is a utensil or some such thing that can be used for arranging and rearranging the hair on the head, both by men and by women. One could also make music with it by putting a piece of paper behind it and blowing through it. Sometimes it can be used as art, in sculpture, for example, to make a series of lines in soft clay. It usually made of plastic, usually black. Although it comes in many colors, it is carried in the pocket or until it's needed. When it's taken out and used and then put back in the pocket is what comes to mind. Now, in that particular case, the patient maintains grammar and did not exhibit any types of neologisms or new words, but the patient did use an overabundance of speech in responding to a very simple question. Instead of saying, I use it to comb my hair. This is called logorrhea. This is a clinical, this is it. This is what she has. The fact that I'm even discussing this, it absolutely blows my mind. Kamala's campaign for happy warrior. See, that's when you mentioned a warrior. You mentioned that before, Howie. It made me think like, but this is where we are today. Nobody dares to say how incredibly bad she is. Nobody dares to say this. This is the most important. This is just it. And when you bring up the fact that, well, listen, she brought up this race stuff, not me. You're a racist. I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. Let me tell you something. I said this yesterday. I don't want to change the subject, but let me tell you what I said. Most people that I know are not racist. But you know what we hate? There are classes of people. There are classes of people that we absolutely, positively would feel the same way towards if they were, well, for example, if we couldn't see. If we could not see, and let's say we could just hear, I don't know how we couldn't see, but because sometimes it's their physical behavior, but there are people that when we hear them, we say, I don't like this person. This is, oh, you know what? That's an idiot. That's the same idiot. This idiot sounds like that other idiot. Maybe they're related. I don't know, but I'm noticing it. Yep, this is an idiot. This guy doesn't sound like he's from here. You would basically find out. Well, you know what you just did? You just categorized. You just put into categories: whites, blacks, women, men, gays, and you didn't even know what you were doing. You were doing it merely by what they said, how they sounded, and what they said. You couldn't even see them, but you put together, interestingly, these groups of people: old people, young people, children, adults, black adults, black women. You can. It's like what people say for years ago during the O.J. Simpson trial. They asked Christopher Darden one time. Oh, somebody said during the course of the trial, I heard somebody, and it sounded like a black man. And Christopher Darden says, excuse me, can you tell you can tell somebody's race he actually said this, you can tell somebody's race by their speech? And the answer is, sometimes, yeah. He actually pretended that you can't. Not always. If you're listening to, I remember one time listening to Keith Richards when they were first, during World War II, a lot of the British folks, and they were kids during World War II, they were given the chance to hear Armed Forces radio. Happy warrior, that's an oxymoron. Not really, because one could be a warrior for something they like. If one is employed as a warrior, you can be happy. Warrior does not mean that you're belligerent or you're mean. Hang on. I'll tell you one, which is interesting. There is a group called there's one group, I think there's one, it might be in I think it's Morristown, or there's a New Jersey, but there's one school, New Philadelphia High School. They're called, this is one for you. This is an oxymoron. The Fighting Quakers. I'm not making this up. The Fighting Quakers. So anyway, so Christopher Darden said, you can't tell somebody's right. Yes, you can. So as I was saying, I reminded myself, Keith Richards said that during World War II, they would get armed forces radio. And for the first time, they said, what the hell is this? And it'll be da-da-da-da-da, I'll send to some old rate, da-da-da-da-da, same old rate, da-da-da-da-da, oh, motherfucker, they said, what the hell is that? He said, that's the blues. He goes, well, what did they say? They had never heard this before. Mississippi Sharecropper, John Hurt, Muddy Waters when he sent John Lee Hooker, Tampa Red, all these ones. Boom, right. He don't mind feeling the thought. Boom, right, the man. Yeah. All right. And they said, wait a minute. Hold it. What the hell is this guy saying? Edie said, Mr. Rowell, the man needs you to ask people to hit. Oh, yes. Hit the like button. Thank you, Edie. Hit that like button. You are so right, Missy. Oh, the likes are pathetic. I need 1,000. I got what, 600? What are you doing to me? Come on. Come on. Anyway, so I'm going to get this out. I'm going to finish this. So Keith Richards said, what is he saying? He said, I don't know. He says, is that, they never met black sharecroppers from Mississippi or whatever. They never knew this. Is that the way they, so they started to say, home band on Roosevelt right. And they said, okay, whatever. And they said, no, that is a black affectation. That is a black affectation. That is a style of black or Negro, they would call it then, South, isn't. They had no idea. So they were imitating stuff. They had no idea. They just thought maybe this was just English. Maybe this was the style. Nobody knew. If you discuss this, you're supposed to leave all of that out because it deals with the subject of race. People don't understand that sounds, accents, things like that. Like Fred Thompson had a Southern accent, but it was okay. I think Sam Irvin had a great accent. My mama told me, sometimes it's kind of, there's some accents that we work with. But if you had somebody running for senator, and the senator, what do you think about this proposition regarding taxing corporate unearned interest? And if he said, sometimes it be like that. No, sorry. No. Why? Well, no. Because you're racist? No. Well, what's the problem then? Well, did you hear what he said? Yes, I heard what he said. Well, what are you getting at? I'm not getting at anything. I just don't think this would be a senator. And people forget this. It's not race. It's about class. I keep saying class. It's got to be a different word. If the fact that I have to spend time explaining things that everybody intuitively knows, but nobody has the guts to recognize, is beyond me. Beyond me. I will never understand it as long as I live. Because, as my friend used to always say, sometimes it bees like that. I had a guy at one time, it was wonderful, I had a client, and I learned phrases from him. And gin in his life was very important. Gin was like wine is. And gin was Tanqueray, Gordon's, Beefeater. So one time I asked him, I said, but what did you do? I said, did you go to the store? He goes, yes. Well, what did you tell the man behind the counter? He said, I said, let me hold a pack of, no, let me hold a bottle. Let me hold a bottle of Natty here and a pack of what I am. I said, hold it. You got me there, pal. You got me there. Naughty head, Tanqueray. It's that there's knots, kind of a knotty. Walking Man is Beefeaters, and Hog's Head is Gordon's. Pack of what I am is Cool cigarettes. Then I had a woman one time. She came with her daughter, and I said, "What have your children?" Yes. I have one child that died. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. What did your child die of?" She goes, "Screaming mighty Jesus." Okay. So I turned to the daughter. She says, "Spinal meningitis." I said, "Oh." I did. One time I said, so anyway, so that was that. And I loved it. And I would listen. And I was just, it was like listening to, it was like somebody who was out Hammond discovering, I don't know, it's somebody finding a tribe of Indians, and you're learning like the Comanche dialect versus this. I loved it. It was, I could go on and on. And I told you one story. I had a very, very interesting Indian fellow. And he was a victim of a robbery. And we're doing all this intake stuff. And I'm listening to him. And he had money, or he had something money to put in a basket or something. But he said, he said, well, I took, and they took, no. And they went and they took my basket. And it hit me like music. I said, they did what? They took my basket and the tea. Tick, tick. And I said, I got to tell you, we became friends. I said, I got to tell you something. I said, there are people who always do the Indian, they do it like Peter Sellers did it. I think the party or something, and they do this, and it doesn't sound. Yeah, they totally did. Ooh, well, I do. Kind of like a swami. I said, but that's not it. That's not it at all. There's something else. How about this? It's like a lot like Cockney rhyming slang in London. Yes, that is something that blows my mind. Those Guy Ritchie movies, you see these old London gangsters. I don't know what they're talking about. Remember the basket? Do you have a basket? And the teas, I like that. But I told you, one of my best buddies was this guy, Irish. And he was from Galway. And I mean, nobody knew what he said. This man there said what. It didn't matter what the subject was. It didn't matter. And I listened to him. And I asked people who have been in the business, especially recently we had a bar, a big pub owner, this guy, Jimmy Neary, the last of the real Irish pub guys. There's a few, Sunnyside, they got others. But this one guy, I could say to him, I said, I'm going to do one sound and see if you know who this is. And I said, this one there. He goes, oh, and they knew him immediately. But he would sit there in a conversation about anything. If you talk about Kamala, this one there, the one there, Kamala, the one there. This one there, doesn't laugh at the brush. They can't do the way Trump, your man Trump, there. Is the Burton, what the hell is the Butler, Pennsylvania? Your man standing there on the. Oh, for fuck's sake. And I would say, well, because you were very good at just reacting. You didn't really know what you're saying, and it was very good. Well, you got a point there. Well, sometimes that's true. I don't know. This one there, yes. Well. And the laugh that came, you wanted to laugh, the obligatory laugh, but you're not sure what you're laughing about. You hope to God it's not. But this one there, and your man is some guy. Your man there, sniper. Your man, the sniper, and your one, that's a woman. Your one there, Marjorie Taylor with the MTG. You got the MTG, you got the AOC. Oh, fuck's sake, I don't know what the letters to talk about. Howie Brown says, Kamala is asked how she will fix inflation. she can't hide her stupidity from the public longer. Oh, she can. She says, and some things cost more, something costs less. Remember the old joke? They ask so-and-so, you can ask anybody. You can put in anybody you want. They asked so-and-so what he thought about Baier. He said, well, he was pretty good, but I think Hank Aaron was better. All these jokes. All of these jokes. I'm going to tell you this much, and I'm going to leave you with this. If people don't know that she's stupid or don't care that she's stupid, it doesn't matter that we know that she's stupid. It doesn't matter. If people think she's a genius, it doesn't matter. And if people are becoming immune to her stupidity by virtue of the fact that we are being saturated with it, it doesn't matter. That's all I'm going to say. All right, dear friends, Howie Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. Judas, Goat Barbecue, thank you. Edie Crowley, we love you. Charlie Calais, you're a maniac. Mad Peace, thank you. Ken Diazio, Xander, Johnny Scott, everybody. Dan, he goes by the name Dan. That's it. Ryan, Brad Rung, Paul Rodriguez, Mr. Opland. Mr. Opland's in the house. Thank you, Mr. Opland. And thank you for being a part of this disjointed cacophony of stuff. Judith says, she's as daft as brushes and thick as a two broad planks or crazy as a box of frogs. One of my British friends' favorite expressions. Daft as brushy. Yeah, daft as a brush. Thick as two broad planks or crazy as a box of frogs. I like that. My favorite one was pissed, daft as a brush and pissed to the Mickey. And I had no idea that pissed, when I first met Irish folk, I'd never heard either Irish or UK that pissed was drunk. Never heard it in my life. He said, oh, you're pissed. I said, no, I'm not. No, you're pissed. I said, I'm not. But if you keep it up, I'm going to change. I thought he meant pissed off. Pissed. No, different story. Partner? Your partner? You know, have you met my partner? Your partner? Oh, my God. Really? Yeah, my partner. What's his name? Roisin. I had one guy, quick story. He had the weirdest reactions to stuff. If you say, hey, Dermot, how are you? No. Hey, Dermot. Very well, thank you. And that was the first tip off. And then I said, he says, I saw your man the other day, Karl Rove. I said, you mean Karl Rove? Sure. What? You said Karl Rove. Yeah. No, his name is Karl Rove. Yeah, sure. No, wait. What? I saw your man, Sadat Hussein. You mean Anwar Sadat? Sure. No, wait, you're doing it again. Do you mean yes as to Anwar Sadat or Saddam Hussein? Yeah. No, you can't say yeah. And you never knew what the hell. He'd be great in the grand jury. So you're saying that you were there when the murder took place? Sure. So you were the shooter? Yeah. But you said before it was the other guy who shot. Sure. Now, wait a minute. Hold it. Well, sure. No idea. I had one guy also who had a pipe. And he was from Northern Ireland. And whenever he spoke at a pub, he never talked politics. Never. So he was in the U.S. He's a bartender. Great guy. But he, was a little hesitant, a little cherry, a little reluctant to really get into it. And he'd do one of these. And there'd be nobody in the bar. Nobody. He'd look over and says, we've got like a pipe here. So, I'll tell you what. You turn around the girl here. I do think it's easy to get home here. But tell Mr. Trump there. He's not the way they're going to know it because they don't bother. And that's the way I know it. But I said, Jerry, there's nobody here. And I never knew what he said. And I thought maybe it was the pipe. Took the pipe out. He sounded worse. The pipe actually helped him. You don't understand. There are people Irish is forget anything you ever heard about any accent. I don't know. I can list. Oh my God. And how they could, Cork. Oh, Galway. How do you tell? In any event, I've had enough. Now we're 35 minutes with you. You know why? Because I love you. And excuse me, I may be all over the place. I'm sorry. It's who I am. And you love it. You love it. All right, dear friends, you have a great and glorious day. Make sure, this one there, make sure you hit the like button there. You like, you're on there, you subscribe. See the one there come to the ladder nation. And there's no for some time. For fuck's sake, they come together. It was unsubscribe, unsubscribe. What the fuck for? Go, it's all adopted, Mickey. So make sure you do the one like your one there. Make sure you like it. Put the like down there. Oh, there's a button there. The one there, it's a button. You got to push the button there again. So if you're live, or something this way, it'll let you know. Oh, look, there's a line and there's another one. But you got to push the button there if you don't have that button. You can't do the one. You do the button for the fuck's sake. Well, the one there. Your man Trump. I tell you what about your man Trump. This man there. This man knows what he's talking about there. He's a good man. He came here one time. I didn't know him. I know the man. He's a friend of his came in one day. And he came in there. Donald Trump. He goes, yeah, I could meet him. Mr. Trump. I said to him, listen to me. I said, let me tell you something. You know the God that in this one, you're the fuck's sake of on the jazz. All right, my friends. You have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much for everything you have attempted to be. I will see you later this evening at 7 p.m. Lori Cuck, everybody. There she is. Are there still tickets available? Lori, please. For you? Yes. Here is the link. October 26th at the Cutting Room. This is going to be 10 days before the election. I mean, 10 days. That's it right there, my friends. That is the link. And I'm going to put it right at the top there for you. That is the link for you to do it. Let me see, put it right there. And there's the tickets. There we have it. I'm going to put it right at the top for you. Right at the top. No, whatever. I can't do it. It's too many people. All right, dear friends. Listen, thank you so much. I got to run. Have a good day. A great and a glorious day. You were terrific. See you tonight, 7 p.m. Don't forget, make sure you subscribe. Lionel Nation, and Lionel Legal. Going to be doing maybe a live one of those too. So make sure Lionel Legal, you're subscribed to that as well. That's the other one. Spreading the word. All right, dear friends. Have a great and a glorious day. I thank you so much. And don't ever, 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 ever change. And until we meet again, remember these final words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dead.